In this episode of Life in the West, I went to Ranchester, Wyoming to visit Matt, who is a veterinarian on a massive ranch of over 50 sections and 14,000 cattle for 16 years, and see what he's doing with a special breed of cattle called Wagyu. This episode is packed with tons of information about ranching, your health, and the future of our great country. So how long were you a veterinarian? I mean,
I graduated in January of 1982.
Okay.
And I worked a year in private practice at Lyman, Colorado, and then a year in private practice at Livingston, Montana. And then I went to a ranch owned by Jerry Spence, the attorney at Du Bois. And from there we came here in 1984, my wife and I, and we raised our kids here. We lived in padlock housing for from 84 to 97, and then we built this house in 97.
Oh, okay. And you worked on the padlock ranch?
Yeah, and I grew up on this place.
So on this place?
Yeah.
Okay. Padlock Ranch is one that's pretty well known in the ranching world. It's a massive size, isn't it? Well, how big is it?
Well, it's the Padlock is a fabulous ranch that incorporates both private land and leases on the other side of the state line from individual Crow Indian families that don't want to operate their own properties.
Okay.
And so they got into it basically by buying some steers from a Texas ranch 70, 80 years ago that was doing the same thing. And then that fellow got in financial trouble and asked Homer Scott if he would buy these yearlings, and he would give him this prepaid lease that had been paid up for 5 years, which happens to be 50 sections without a fence. So it was a pretty good deal.
50 sections. So a section is 640 acres. So you got 50 of those. That's a lot of land.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They run a ton of cattle though, don't they?
About varied between probably 9 and 12,000.
Oh, wow.
When I was there, we were up to about 14, but I think they've lost some leases and are a bit smaller than that now.
Okay. So the Padlock having that many cattle, they have their own veterinarian, or
they
a
did.
couple?
They did for a while. That was what I did for 16 years. But then maybe I made it so bad they decided not to ever do that again. And so it's handy for a ranch to have their own veterinarian, but they then got to also put up with the daily BS that a veterinarian might say versus a true cattle manager.
I see. You mean like the veterinarian wants them to do certain things in a certain way? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so there was always kind of a friction, you know what I mean? It wasn't, oh geez, your idea is great, let's go do it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's fine. I enjoyed the fight, kind of a deal. And I always felt that my job on that ranch was to represent the livestock, to be their voice in the meetings. Like, do we have enough hay? No, but we'll just let them winter out. Well, that's not a very good idea, and these are the risks you're going to run. And so it was really a lot of fun to do it.
Well, we'll go see the Wagyu cattle, but how'd you get into raising them?
Well, it's a long story. I years ago used to write articles for a thing called the Western Beef Producer segment of the Record Stockman, which was a magazine put out by an insurance company. I wrote this article that a lady from Texas somehow read, and she called me at the Padlock and says, "Where do you guys get your cattle slaughtered?" And it was about fetal calf serum. And fetal calf serum is a material that back in those days, it was the AIDS epidemic. And so there was a huge amount of study on virus.
Okay.
And so fetal calf serum became very important in viral tissue colonies or tissue growth. And so it became a tremendously base value product for the biological industry, but cattlemen were getting screwed. If you sent a pregnant cow, they would deduct you the weight of the calf from the overall weight, so there was a deduction there. Meanwhile, they were grabbing that fetus and going in and taking the blood out of the heart and getting in those days up to $150 a liter. Now it's
Wow.
like $1,200, and they're still doing it. And ranchers aren't getting a thing out of it.
So then they lose the calf, right?
Oh yeah, the calf's sacrificed.
Isn't that what they're feeding the cultured meat, the lab-grown meat too? Because that's what I read.
They're going to use the same tissue cultured material, because that's what lab-grown meat's going to be. It's tissue culture.
Right.
It's just, and people think that, oh, we're going to get away from antibiotics. No way. It's going to be just loaded with that stuff. Otherwise, there'll be microbes in there that they don't want. So
they'll have to put antibiotics and stuff
absolutely. In the tissue culture.
Tissue culture, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I look at cultured meat and go, wow, and the lab-grown meat, basically.
Yeah.
And go, why would you ever think that would be better when you really read about it?
Oh,
I mean,
and no question. But they're going to claim, well, we can control the fat, the kind of fat, thinking that animal fat is bad, which is just totally wrong. That the war on fat, and I'm kind of, I lost the war basically, it has been a destruction for humans and the animal kingdom, to be honest with you. Pork used to be great.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We used to raise pigs down here, and we'd let some of them get upwards 400 pounds or so before we'd slaughter them, like a sow that had maybe had a couple of litters. But they were so good, kind of like I know when you were talking with Mike.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that was exactly right. But they were well marbled. Well, these modern pigs, there's hardly any fat in them because we've had the war on fat. And so now they don't have a lot of flavor. And that's why I think you see all this pulled pork. It's because people don't know what else to do with it. It's not a standalone meat like it used to be. So they're making value by adding stuff that makes it more edible.
Yeah, you got to add some liquid
Yeah,
to you got to
yeah.
pull it apart and add some liquid in there because
Yeah.
it gets pretty dry. I
Yeah.
mean, you buy pork chops from the store, there's no fat on it at all.
No,
And they're saying, "Oh, that's good for you because it's lean."
right.
But I mean, it's I don't really care for pork chops because of that. I mean, it's
Right,
not good.
and we, boy, I mean, they used to be great, and the roasts. Oh, we used to have. That was what you had on a Sunday. You ate beef the rest of the time. But anyway, this lady called, and she wanted to know about where we got our meat processed, and I said nowhere, especially because we're just like everybody else. And I said, why do you ask? She goes, well, I've got this really good meat. I go, what's that? And she goes, Wagyu. And Wagyu? That's the ugliest cow I've ever seen. And I had seen a Wagyu bull at Battle Mountain, Nevada that belonged to the Rebholz family. And I mean, man, it's kind of like a longhorn with, not quite as long the horns. And it, it's just not a pleasant deal for a cowman to look at.
They do look different shape.
Yeah.
They're a different shape, aren't they? Yeah.
At least those were. We'll go look at these across the road as we're having calves, and they won't look that dramatically different because these girls are pretty fat, really. Being a fall calver, you almost have to fight obesity versus spring calving when you fight our cows not being in good shape.
And you're doing something different. You're not out selling commercial.
No, we're trying to raise these bulls, and this year we didn't have that good a year selling like we've had in the past, and I think it might be a reflection of the world's economic situation, to where China and Korea and some of these places are not buying that real high quality meat the way they did, and so the Australians are pumping beef into the United States, and the Wagyu has really taken off in Australia. It's it's huge.
Oh.
And it kind of makes sense. They were really close to Japan and the Orient there, where people would pay for real high quality meat.
Yeah, Japan would, yeah.
And then another thing, a friend of mine, he's a nutritionist, veterinarian over in Toowoomba, Queensland, and he consults on a lot of feeding operations for Wagyu, and he's saying that the Wagyu really cross nicely with Brahma, which is the predominant breed type in Australia, other than maybe Wagyu are catching up, but they don't have the real problems of drop in grade like we do here when anybody breeds to a Brahma type animal.
Okay.
So and then they're both heat resistant. So,
because Australia's got a lot of heat, so they have to be.
Yeah.
So Wagyu's heat resistant too.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Okay.
And the reason with Wagyu is they store their extra fat either as marbling or kidney, heart, and pelvic fat. They don't build a lot of subcutaneous fat. And so, you know, subcutaneous fat is great in Montana and Wyoming in the winter, but in the summer kind of becomes a problem because then they can't get rid of the excess heat. And so they go, okay, we're going to go lay in the shade, you know, hang out by the pond, but we're not going to graze the way we could, or way we do in the winter. We've kind of totally switched to this kind of ranching four-wheeler. We have four-wheelers, but we use these side-by-sides because they're so much more stable. And for elderly people, stability is vital. That's good. And then just bring that brown gate back over to it.
Okay.
And so these are purebred Wagyu cows.
So these are purebred Wagyu.
You know, this is as big as most Wagyu cows will get. Now, if you go to a feed yard that's feeding them, you know, you'll see some that are just wobbly big, but this is about as big as they'll get in their natural environment.
So what do these weigh?
When we've taken them in, they're generally around 1,100.
Okay.
And that'd be a big one. Some of them are down on the 9s, and the reason I, you know, I think I might have one to tag right over there.
Yeah, I see. There's one laying
down
down
there. Yellow
there.
Tags there, and we're raising these girls to try to produce bulls, primarily for ranches because we're not registered. Ranches that want to get away from fighting calving sheds. These Wagyu cows, and you can see they're.
So, and that's the reason for that is the Wagyu throw really small calves, right? And they grow to the same size relatively as like Angus. But so a lot of people, I've done videos on this before. I want to raise American Angus, which is half and half Angus, half Wagyu. So to do that, you have to have full-blood Wagyu bulls. So somebody's got to raise the bulls.
Right.
That's what you're doing.
Right.
And then they throw small calves, so like, especially heifers don't have much of a problem giving birth, right?
Well, when I was at Padlock, we started using the Wagyu before I actually became a breeder. Probably in 1997, we started putting Wagyu semen in these cattle, and we were totally surprised. Very minimal amount of calving difficulty, but because of that, we didn't have to run the calving sheds, so the heifers could become better mothers. The problem was for a Padlock Ranch heifer, she would have a calf in the jug, a 8x8 jug.
Small pan, yeah.
Yeah, and she would stand there and look at this baby calf and maybe lick it off, and she'd go, okay, I've got a solid face. She didn't know it, maybe red calf versus black. I don't know if they can see colors or not, but she goes, that's my calf. She steps outside of the jug and into the holding pen. There's 70 other calves just like him. And so we had a terrible time keeping cows mothered up, and so they abandoned the sheds. They were able to cut their labor force to calf heifers from about 30 during the first 3 weeks down to 5, and then that's, you know, that same 5, all they did is tagged, and if they came across a dystocia, which was like less than 1 in 100, they could do something about it, walk them back to the old shed or whatever.
So they seem like they're kind of light colored.
Well, these have a little of the Japanese brown in them.
Oh, I see. A little Japanese brown.
They're purebred Wagyu, but they're kind of a little blend.
Oh, there's one just calved up there.
Yeah.
Just had a calf. You can see the afterbirth out of it. You want me to reach out and get him? Yeah. Matt needed to tag some of the calves that were newly born. And the way he does it is something I've never seen before, kind of like capturing dinosaurs in Jurassic World. So I thought I'd give it a try. See, I've never roped like this before.
There you go, you got it.
There you
go. Let it go. Oh,
whoops, I missed it. Sorry, I didn't.
Good.
So are they fighters? Like
no, not much. But to be careful.
Yeah.
Don't go.
I will.
Yeah. Hang on to that cable so
I got it. Yep. What I do is make videos and live streams showing the real lives of people who live in between the cities, who care about their family values, and who sustain land and food security that we should all care about. If you care about those things as well, then make sure you join this community. It's time to stop hiding in the shadows and let people know what rural families do for their country.
4-1.
4-1. So it's a little easier when you get them around the neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you get them around the neck, you don't have to hold it tight like this. It'll actually hold it by itself. But I like your system. It's kind of like catching catching dinosaurs in Jurassic World. Yeah.
Well, actually, I learned it from a movie called Daktari, way back in
Oh,
the 1960s of John Wayne.
Yep. Yeah, you're all right, buddy. You're okay. You're okay.
And
I thought they were like more docile, the calves, but they're pretty lively.
Oh yeah, there.
Which means they have a good will to live, right?
Now I take my bat.
Yeah,
I just don't
just
want
in
her
case.
to get
You
going.
can't afford it at your age either.
No, that's right.
My dad had shoulder surgery the other day, or last year, just because of that. Is he done?
Yeah.
Is it a heifer?
Little bull.
Little bull?
But
Okay.
You do this, like this.
Yeah.
Normally, they'll back away from you, or turn, and it really reduces tension. You don't have to smack them. You just hold it up.
Yeah.
That's kind of a Bud Williams thing.
Okay.
It makes you bigger than they are.
Right.
So then they're a lot less aggressive towards you.
Yeah. Well, I'll see if I can get the next one around the neck so it's a little easier. We'll show you how that works. Around the neck is a little bit harder for them to. You can probably just let this drop and
Yeah, you do.
let the vehicle hold it. Yeah. I was on the phone with my dad one day. I don't know why he was on the phone with me while he was doing it, but he was trying to tag his calf, and I hear this. I was like, Dad, what happened? And after about 5 minutes, he picked the phone up, and a heifer had run over top of him from behind.
Oh wow!
And now he's got shoulder surgery. Had shoulder surgery, and because it messed his shoulder up.
And we hadn't had a coyote problem here till last fall. We had a dang coyote eat the back leg on a live calf, which then I euthanized. Most of the time, we're out of season for the coyote by calving now.
Because they're out doing other things?
Well, they've already weaned their pups, and they've trained their pups how to kill voles and moles and,
I see.
and that kind of thing. So they don't bother us much this time of year.
Yeah.
So why that one went rogue, I don't know. And I think the wolf thing, if it comes in here, will be totally different.
That's not good.
Now see, I've probably got that's a heifer over there across the
road.
road.
Yep. She's laying down by herself.
Either calving or calved out.
Yep. It's a bull too? Slow down, little guy. You're all right. I like to see how lively they are. That's awesome, man. That thing's only a day old.
Probably not even that.
Yeah. Goodness. Fast.
Oh yeah. Kind of wear them down a little bit.
Yep.
For one thing, I don't want him falling down right in front of me.
Oh, I'm a poor shot at this. There we go.
Let it go.
There we go. Now we got it around the neck.
Good work. Really, what number? But this isn't even that cow.
It isn't. I cannot read that. It's something.
She's got a brand 211.
Something 11.
Yeah, she's got a 2 brand.
Oh, it's a 211. Yeah.
I used to brand them, then I quit. I figured.
Just going with the tags.
Yeah, but then there's nothing you can do. They fade. You can buy the ones.
Yeah, I see that. It's really faded there. You can't.
So 211.
Yeah. So you go by the.
One day you're gonna want a job.
Yeah, exactly.
But for the most part, these Wagyu cows are not interested in eating you or me.
Yeah, that's
They're
nice.
just interested in making sure that calf's okay.
That is very nice, because the running over you and trying to kill you stuff gets old.
And see, that one's just getting rid of its meconium.
Yes, that other one was too.
Uh-huh.
But he's talking about the first poop, kind of. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of when they come out, they got a bunch of stuff in their intestines, correct?
Yeah, it's like skin and stuff that's sloughed off the intestinal wall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's incredible. I almost think they're got a little more vigor to them than the Angus do, almost, as far as being able to run that fast.
They're extremely good if it ain't cold.
Yeah.
If they get cold and wet, they kind of lose a little bit of that vigor.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
Vitamin A.
Oh, you're giving them vitamin A, okay.
That's
And what's
one.
that? Why is that?
Well, that's one of the problems of fall calving. And on a year like this, vitamin A levels in the feed go to hell.
Oh,
There's
because
no-
you're losing it out of the...
Well, there's no green left.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's easier to make sure they at least have some than to guess and whether they're going to have it in the colostrum or not, and enough to do them some good.
I see. So you give that to them in the neck?
Yeah, subcutaneously.
Yeah.
A little better.
Yep. Wild little guy, huh?
Cow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You got to be quick as they're flying by. You just give them a shot as they're flying by, right?
And then try to get the tag in.
Yep.
Once in a while, they rip the tag out.
Oh, I see that. Yeah.
But for the most part,
Yeah.
don't wanna kill ya.
She's just interested. That's what you really like to see, is that a really good mother. So she's not leaving. She's right here. She's like,
Yeah.
hey, take care of her calf, but she's not trying to run over you
sometimes
and
they're
kill you.
even sniffing to see what you give them.
Okay.
I mean, that nose is right there, and you know, I don't begrudge them for that.
I mean, that vitamin A though, that's extremely important. Because
Oh,
if
yeah.
you don't have that, they'll die.
That's right. And believe me, we kind of learned the hard way about that.
Did you?
We had a real dry year about 4 or 5 years ago now, and
Yep.
and I assumed since, you know, they had good grass early in the year that, you know, they'd
Sure.
probably be fine.
Sure. They probably have
And
enough
I didn't
nutrients
put out a
from it.
vitamin A mineral.
Oh,
We're doing that now. But anyway, we were going along, and everything was great. And we took a little trip down to, during calving season, which you usually don't do, down to Fort Collins and Cheyenne. I had 2 sons, one in Fort Collins, one in Cheyenne. And so came back, I had like 6 dead calves
oh boy.
that weren't even sick.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
weather had been
Yeah.
great. And so I kind of went crazy and went around and started treating them. And man, we still lost calves. And so I finally sent the whole calf into the University of Wyoming Diagnostic Lab. And the only thing that came back was extremely low in vitamin A. So it kind of makes sense then. If they don't have vitamin A, they don't absorb, because vitamin A is necessary for making epithelium. And epithelium covers everything. That's epithelium everywhere is epithelium, including the lining of your gut.
Oh.
And so vitamin A is necessary for that normal cell development and function. And that's where we were getting in trouble, is that they had enough to go good for a while, and they ran out, and they just lost their ability to digest, and so they would die of diarrhea.
I see.
For no bacterial cause, but from physiological cause. And so it really showed the importance to me of vitamin A, to where I kind of, and years ago we always did vitamin A. Then they told us, oh no, these feeds are so fortified you don't need vitamin A. Well,
Oh, I see. So when it came out with that stuff, it's like, well, it's like what we hear with eggs or something, you know,
Yeah.
every 20 years ago or whatever, eggs are bad for you. So
now they're a superfood.
now they're a superfood. So it, yeah, I know a rancher up in Montana, the same thing. They and he's a spring calver, but it was a super dry year, and he had no idea that he would have to give him vitamin A. And he lost a ton of calves, and it was just because they found out just because of that. It was a deficiency in vitamin A.
On the ground.
Right. Yeah, he's just.
You got him?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna back up just a hair.
No,
Just
I don't have him. Here, you got it. His nose is stuck in the grass there. There we go.
6-4.
Yeah, he's still wet. Whoop.
I'll tighten it up a little.
There you go. Yeah, he's still a little wet.
Yeah. They're easier to catch that way.
They are a lot easier to catch when they're less than an hour old. Once they get up, then you can tell they're a lot harder to get a hold of.
No sweat here.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, little guy. There you go, buddy.
What sex that little character is?
Yeah, I'll check. You're gonna fall the wrong way.
Here, I'm gonna get you something good. Here. Hey.
We'll get her. There she goes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bull calf.
We're all bullshit.
Yep. All the birthing juices. What's that fluid called in there?
Euconium.
Euconium
Yeah.
fluid. Yellow and bloody and.
If you come upon, like, here, no, sure.
Oh, this stuff right here, this
Yeah. And it's
right there.
Mm-hmm. No, not that one. It's the little grass.
Oh, you're talking the little grass. Okay.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like cheatgrass?
Well, it's a cheatgrass, but it's called Bentonauton. It's highly competitive, and you see how it.
Oh, it's covering everywhere.
Yeah. And it was over there too, and so what it does is it chokes out your good annual or perennial grasses.
Right.
Choke it out, and then cattle won't eat it hardly.
Does it have any nutritional value at all, or
no?
Nothing.
Really.
That's probably why they won't eat it.
No, and it carries the fire good. We learned.
Oh,
that.
I'll bet. So how do you spray it now? It's dead.
Well, this company, it's the chemicals Rejuvra, I believe. That's the trade name, not the chemical name.
Yeah.
And what it is, it's a material that prevents germination of the seeds.
Oh, okay.
And so what they want is that stuff laying on the surface of the soil, so it'll prevent this stuff from germinating next spring.
I see.
And supposedly then the deeper rooted annuals can make a comeback. And I'll tell you what.
Boy, it's like killed everything out here.
It has, yeah.
I mean, there's about nothing left.
That's
except for that.
That's right.
Where did it come in from? What?
I think, I'll tell you how I think it came in is all of this international transportation of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think this stuff was like in Mongolia.
So this
happened last fall and winter.
So this is kind of interesting to me. So this comes down from the mountains, right?
No, it's snow and rain. There's
Snow and rain.
There's no live water in it.
So there's no live water. This is just runoff from snow, right?
Yeah.
Snow melt. And then you gather it here, and you can keep it here for this long. Because this is September, so it's obviously...
Well, it was nearly full, and I need to work on this damn thing and get it so it'll...
The dam thing? Wow. You know what? I have no desire to be in one of them when they're doing that. So this is a bunch of your bulls that are kind of different ages.
Yeah, they're just the 2 ages.
2 ages.
But they got a blue tag in there into their 2-year-old. I trick tested them.
And then that one's a yearling? Okay.
I mean, it's
Okay, so they sprayed that for
Yeah.
this, that you can see the lighter colored grass that goes up through that, and then when they sprayed over there, that spray came across the fence, and that's why it's kind of patchy, because when did they spray it from the air?
Yeah, hell.
Yeah, so they got some drift that came over and got this. Man,
But you can sure see a difference.
you can see a line, I mean, it's not a straight line, but you can see exactly where it was.
Yeah.
That's
And
incredible.
that's returned back to more of the old perennials.
Yeah, like this. I mean, this is the perennial stuff.
Yeah.
That's amazing. By just inhibiting that stuff from
Yep.
germinating,
From
this other stuff will come right back.
Yeah.
But if that's up, it won't.
No.
Huh.
That's why they apply it in the fall of the year, and they hope for a rain so that it gets it down on the soil.
Okay.
Then and it works for 4 years or 5.
Oh, it does.
But hopefully by then you've got enough neighbors and everything that have stopped the spread, and that it'll get under control.
But man, that spray's probably.
Well, applied, it's $83 an acre with the helicopter.
Wow.
I mean, with the cost of the chemical.
Yeah.
The chemical's $1,400 a gallon.
$1,400 a gallon.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah. But you know, it's government assisted, so
Okay.
you know, why not go for it and try
Right.
it? Because look at the difference. I
Oh,
mean,
that's a huge difference. And if it's something like that nothing can eat, and then or something like that's native grasses that all the animals can eat, your production value just went up like massive amounts.
Yeah.
If it's gone.
Yeah, no, it's well coming to look at this, and
Yeah.
you know, I mean, and you'll hear more about it in Montana because it's invading everywhere.
Is it?
Now,
Getting
one
in
of the good
Montana,
things,
too?
those fires. Down
What's it
there,
called?
Ventonata.
Ventonata. So
And
I
there's
haven't
another
ever heard-
one they were out looking for. It's called Medusa Head, and it's a nasty little thing. Now, we don't have too much of that here, but anyway, there are 2 of them that they've come out and waged war with the USDA.
Oh, this is your cow dog here?
Yeah. And Harv doesn't know what he is.
He doesn't know what he is?
He's kind of ranch security.
Is he part of is he part lab?
It could
Honestly?
be part
Probably.
Rottweiler. We don't know what he is.
We don't know. And this one is the
Just straight border.
border collie. Yeah. Do you help or you,
No, she's pretty good.
yeah?
Especially like when you're in those side by sides.
Yeah. Some dogs are really good in the brush, especially. Oh, there's a cat.
Oh yeah, there'll be plenty of them. Diane?
I'm Diane. Oh,
Yeah, and
nice to meet you, Trinity.
Good to meet you. I've heard you guys are married for
Well, 42 and a half.
42 and a half years, huh?
Yeah, maybe better get the door. We'll have unwanted guests.
Oh.
Let the cats in.
Let the cats in? Okay.
No, we don't let them in. We'll
Don't
close
let them in.
this one.
Gotcha. So let her out? I think this next episode will be extremely eye-opening to you about the future of our country. Make sure you click on it right here.